this is Jersey. You're watching The Garden State.
You are listening to The Garden State, the only New Jersey podcast that gives you all the news you need to hear this week. I'm Josh Sobo.
I'm Josh Chomick.
And behind the camera,
Jimmy Parks.
Jimmy actually got headphones this week so he can hear himself speak now.
This is like a transformation for me. I'm never going to stop speaking for this whole podcast.
Oh, no. Take the headphones away.
My voice is going to be louder than ever.
Our little Jimmy Bird grew a pair of wings this weekend. Look at him fly.
I think I have a sesame seed stuck in my throat right now, and that just felt very uncomfortable. But yeah, Jimmy, it's good to see Jimmy with the headphones on. It's good to hear his voice. No, he's hearing his voice. Yeah, we always hear it.
He's always like cutting in and out of the mic, and he never hears himself, so we had to give him the headphones so the audio quality would be a little better. So
just production things.
You know what? You guys sound better too.
I'm pretty sure we sound the same.
You sound better.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'll take it.
You're right in my ears.
Well, it's good to be back, guys. We have an amazing night lined up.
Baby.
We have a very special thing happening tonight. We are going to be interviewing a guest, and we'll get to that in a little bit. And before we do, I just want to ask you guys, how was your weekend?
Josh, my weekend was fabulous.
Whoa.
Dude, I don't even remember what happened, but the news dropped today. Tiger Woods will be playing in the Masters.
Very exciting.
At Augusta. Like, do I need anything else in life right now?
Well, I've been following the Masters on Instagram, and the photos they're posting are just so beautiful. It gets me excited to sit on the couch, just see what's going on. There's something about watching golf on TV that
beautiful.
You don't appreciate it until you're a man. And then when you learn to appreciate it, you kind of just lay on the couch, veg out.
It's the best. I entered the lottery the past 2 years to go to Augusta because I got into golf like 3 years ago, and I haven't been picked. But I know there's some people who've been doing their whole lives and they haven't been picked. So goal one day is to make it.
How much are tickets even if you get in the lottery?
Oh, can't remember off the top of my head. It's nothing crazy, I don't think.
That course is beautiful.
It's the nicest golf course ever.
It's so gorgeous.
It's insane, dude.
Well, what'd you do this weekend, guys? Anything interesting? Jimmy?
I went to go see my friends play. That was kind of cool.
Where was the play at?
Was it the Paper Mill?
No, it was in Kearney. It was a VFW hall. Last time it was at a VFW hall, it was for like a punk rock show.
Dang,
What was the production of?
It was called Almost Maine, and it had like 9 short plays in one. It was pretty good.
Cool.
But you know, random things.
You know what was really cool about this? Like, I've only been to like Broadway shows and then like high school productions. So this was really cool to see like grown-ups acting for like no other reason than that they enjoy doing it. So they weren't like trying to prove anything. No one's like trying to outdo each other. I thought it was really cool.
It's a passion project.
Yeah.
Cool.
And sometimes when you get older, you don't really see people doing this kind of stuff and like really showing their passion. So
the last time I went to a play was at the Paper Mill Playhouse, I think in middle school. And like, dude, I couldn't wait to get out of there. It just creeped me out as a kid.
I don't think I've ever seen a play before.
Never. You never went to a Broadway?
Never did a Broadway play. Never did an off-Broadway. Never been to Paper Mill Playhouse.
The high school ones, dude, I never went to.
I never saw a high school play.
I did not care.
Sobes, I could totally see you being like in set design or something in high school.
I would have loved to if they invited me out. But, you know, the theater kids, man, the theater kids, they just can be... They're just an interesting bunch, and I never got the invite. And I was very shy in high school, so I guess I just never had the guts to go show up and build
You made YouTube videos, so more people watched your stuff anyway.
Yeah, okay, so yes, speaking of set design, yesterday I saw a TikTok of like a high school play, and the set, I just want to explain it to you guys because it was so funny. The set design was there's like 3 people standing on the stage, and there was a person 1 floor above them. They built like a set where there was a floor above them, and what was holding up the next floor was one singular pillar. Like the back of the set was all connected, and there's one pillar, and one of the actors on the lower level leaned against the pillar and fell over. The dude on the upstairs, like it was like the scene in Lion King with Scar. He was hanging off, holding on.
This was on TikTok?
Oh man, yeah. It was. I wish we could show our podcast listeners. I don't even know what to search to find it.
That's wild.
Maybe search like high school play fail on TikTok or something, but. Yeah, it made me laugh out loud last night. It was dangerous. I don't know why I brought that up, but Josh, what did you do this weekend, by the way?
I could have pictured Jimmy to being a gaffer in those like high school plays, like the behind the scenes guy.
I was always behind the scenes in all the high school plays.
You could have been the star too, though.
If
you tried.
I think so. No.
Josh, what'd you do this weekend, bro? You didn't answer me.
Trying to think, dude. I played golf.
Again, you play golf every weekend.
I'm trying to because during the week I work and I don't do anything else but work. So the weekends I really try to cherish it. And I played golf, Galloping Hill, Exec 9, nothing crazy.
Classic.
Yeah, it was local and I was by myself. So it was a quick hour 20
Nice.
around and it's a shorter course anyway. But I'm just trying to get my golf game up, bro. I'm trying to break 100 this year. If everyone listening right now, don't make fun of me for not breaking 100. You know the struggle. New golfer, just trying to and I'm honest. That's why I haven't broke it. I keep every stroke. So,
Josh, what's your favorite Jersey course?
I haven't played too many. I love Flanders Valley in Flanders, New Jersey. That's probably one of the nicer courses I played. I'm trying to play Crystal Springs this year. One of those up there. But I play very basic public courses.
Yeah.
So,
Are you going to be at the Garden State 18 for St. Jude's?
is that happening?
We're going to be doing next year.
Yes.
I'm just speaking it, and we're going to believe it's going to happen.
We should do a
We're going
tourney.
to do a golf tournament to raise money for St. Jude Hospital.
Yeah, like a scramble tourney.
Yeah, we'll just tell everyone, bring your friends out, and we'll ask the golf course,
yes.
hey, can we get 50% of the money?
Oh yeah, dude. And we have so many friends too who will come out and help push that.
I love it. I think
That's a great idea,
we can
Josh.
make it happen.
The problem with this podcast is we talk about all these ideas and people are starting to hold us accountable.
I know.
Everyone on Discord is like, when's the pizza party?
party?
Pizza party's happening this summer. We're gonna
figure
that's
it
gonna be our first event. We're not trying to do things. We can't do a whole big event off the bat. We have to start small. So
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And we'll just have to see what happens and play it by ear. But yeah, well, that's good that you got to play golf this weekend.
what did you do?
Saturday morning, we did the same thing I always do. I told you guys last week I go to this spot in Milburn for some coffee. Great
Nice.
spot. There's also this deli called Goldberg's Deli in Milburn. Great bagels, man. I'm telling you. And they have freshly squeezed orange juice, but it's very expensive.
I love fresh squeezed orange juice.
So if you get the full, like a Yoo-Hoo bottle size of orange juice, it's $8.
Really?
Yeah, because they freshly squeeze it, but we never get that. We get the little tiny half size for
Yeah.
$3.70 or whatever it is. And yeah, it's a great spot. And then Saturday night, I went to Bridgewater, New Jersey, hung out with some friends over there.
Nice. We got to hit that diner over there in Bridgewater one of these days.
Absolutely.
Time to eat, or is time to eat somewhere else?
Time to Eat is in Bridgewater. That's the one that's across from Guitar Center
Yeah.
in that whole big section. So we'll make it out there at some point. But it was a good weekend, relaxing. Sunday, I just laid on the couch, Sunday afternoon, I got that Sunday afternoon couch sesh going.
Couch lock.
Yeah, and that was pretty much it.
I forgot to say I went to now that you mentioned breakfast, I went to Johnny's Pork Roll. I think it's called Johnny's Pork Roll in Red Bank Saturday morning.
Nice.
And they call it pork roll there. So I asked for a Taylor ham. Well, my friend asked for a Taylor ham, and they just looked at us straight face, like it's pork roll.
They did?
Yeah. So people are passionate, man. I respect it. It was a great Taylor ham, egg and cheese, even though it's called pork roll, egg and cheese at the shop. But go check out Johnny's Pork Roll.
Shout out to Johnny's.
I could be saying that wrong. It's this name like Johnny's Pork Roll.
I actually tried a new diner this weekend as well. I went to the Vincenttown Diner.
Oh, that's the one we passed.
Yeah, it's down off 206.
Good spot.
I would go back. I went for dinner, so I didn't have any breakfast food, but I got a panini. It was great.
Panini. Oh, it's actually called Johnny's Pork Roll and Coffee too.
Awesome.
That's the title. Go check it out in Red Bank. Great spot. Tell them we sent you.
I love Red Bank. I went to Keyport, and I feel like Keyport, the way I described it to some friends is it's like a working class Red Bank. Like it feels like Red Bank, but for regular kind of people, like you and me. Like we're just gonna go to what's that? State Line?
Broad Street Diner.
Broad Street Diner.
State Line is somewhere else. Oh, State Line is in Mawa, I think, and everyone keeps telling us to go there.
Oh yeah.
We have to go there.
That diner in Keyport was killer, but you want to get into the news? We're rambling.
Let's talk about it. That's what the people are here for, I think. Oh, I got a quick news story for you really quickly.
Yeah.
We're restocking merch.
Yes, we are restocking merch. People keep asking, when are the hoodies coming back? That's why we wore them today. Ooh. They're coming back on Friday.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this, go to the link in our bio for some merch.
Yep.
And you'll be able to grab some hoodies and tees. We just restocked them.
Yes, and the Friday I'm referring to would be today for the people listening to this, the day we upload the podcast.
Yep.
But merch is back. Go get yourself one. Go get one for your sister, your brother.
Shout out to everyone who DM'd us asking for the restock. We saw all your DMs, so we were like, let's do it again.
Yep.
Let's throw a few more up there, and we'll see what happens. So yeah, grab them now because we didn't restock too many. So go.
So last week, we reported on a guy named Lupiano from Colonia, New Jersey, who believes that people are getting brain tumors because of Colonia High School. Him, his wife, and his sister have all had brain tumors, and his sister recently passed, actually.
It's awful.
And the story got a ton of response. A lot of people were reaching out and saying, I know the family, I can connect you. And we actually have the opportunity to speak to Al tonight to hear his side of the story, to hear what he thinks is going on in the high school. And I am just so excited to spread the word about this, because this could be big if something comes of it. And I think if there's anything we can do on this podcast to shed light on interesting, serious situations like this, we should do our part.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were talking to the family, and we're like, we want you guys to just share your side of the story. Yep. What are you guys working on? What are you guys doing? And, we're honored to have Al come on to the pod tonight, calling in.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
It's very exciting. And if you guys ever hear of a story where you feel like it needs more attention, you can always reach out to us on Instagram in our DMs. You can also join the Discord for the conversation, or there's always the option of sending us an email. We do read our emails, and yes.
Appreciate all those emails. We've been getting a lot.
You want to get into this phone call? He should be calling in any second now.
Yep.
Hey, Al, how you doing tonight, man?
Am I coming any better?
Oh, that's
way better.
Okay.
Technology sometimes.
Yeah. You know what? It happens. And we were, we were like, we started getting nervous. We're like, is there something wrong with our setup? I'm going to just say.
Hey, my kids might call me a boomer, but I'm at least decent with technology.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to call us. And, last week we posted that video about your situation, and it seemed like a lot of people were very interested in what's going on. And I think I got 500,000 views of people just interested in what's going on in Colonia. And before we started, we wanted to see, how are you feeling personally? We know you're being affected by this, and your family's been affected directly.
So I've been dealing with my brain tumor over 20 years. So you have good days, we have bad days. For the most part, is what it is. This process of doing the research has not been the easiest thing in the world. So it's pretty much been all encompassing of any spare time I have for about 7 months now. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, only because it just keeps bringing back old memories and kind of like opening up a wound day after day after day. But it's what I have to do to get answers, and made my sister a promise I wouldn't stop until I got an answer, and that's what I'm doing.
Wow. So let's go back just a little bit here, because for those that are listening that may not know, there have been many people affected within Colonia because of what you're assuming is a link to the high school. Do you know the total number of people right now that have this rare brain tumor?
As of tonight, we hit 90.
Wow. So are people coming out of the woodworks now saying, hey, I've got the same issue?
Yeah, so it took me 5 months to get up to 15, and the 15 was just following breadcrumbs and seeing where it took me. Once my sister had declined to a point where she needed all my attention, I kind of put it on the side. And when she did pass is when I really said, I need to go public. I may look like a fool for doing so if it turns out to be nothing, but I need the help of social media to get the word out. And once it went to Facebook, it just started increasing day after day after day. Once a couple of news ran on a couple of news stations, the cases started coming in nationally because a lot of people left New Jersey and weren't aware of what was going on locally. So I've really got a lot of phone calls over the last week. And as of right now, we just hit 90.
Wow. Well, that's incredible. And I hope that us sharing this maybe gets you a few more people connected, because to suffer unknowingly, from something that might have been malfeasance, there, who knows what the situation fully is, but to suffer unknowingly and then to find out, no, there's people just like me, that have gone through the same thing, must be comforting to those that are suffering, that they're not alone. But the real question we wanted to start with you tonight is, so how did you make this connection? Because obviously it's 1 in 100,000, right? That someone would get this particular brain tumor.
Correct.
And then,
go
ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish your
No,
statement.
so I was just going to say, so you, your wife, and your sister all had the same brain tumor. And then, so you went out and you started to ask around, take us back to the beginning of where this all began, because you said 20 years ago.
So I was diagnosed 1999 at the ripe old age of 27. Most people that have acoustic neuromas are 50, 60, 70 years old. They're very slow growing. They estimate about 1 millimeter a year. And I was in the hospital for something unrelated, and they had to do an MRI. And lo and behold, they found a gigantic 36 millimeter brain tumor.
Wow. Oh my God.
It wasn't the cause of my issues at the time, but there was alarm that you have this very large brain tumor and you're only 27. So I started my journey asking questions and trying to research all I could, and kept discovering that these are rare. And someone my age with something that large, I had roughly 36 years of growth and I was 27 years old. And I had an MRI 5 years earlier, and it wasn't there. So even my doctor was kind of like, wow, I don't see a lot of these cases, but even yours is rare within these cases. We don't see them your age, and we don't see them as big as yours. So we did treatment, we moved forward, and I just chalked it up to it was just my time to have something, and I moved forward. And I did the best I could to make the best of it, and I kind of became a counselor in the field and guiding people on their path, saying, there is a tomorrow, and there is hope, and don't give up, and here's treatments, and that's what I've done for 20 years.
Wow.
So when my sister was diagnosed in August, we knew immediately the prognosis was not going to be good. She was in the medical field herself, and what we initially had thought was a benign meningioma turned out to be the worst of the worst, stage grade 4 glioblastoma multiforme. It has a very, very low survival rate. They estimate it's about 1%, and most people don't see 2 years, let alone 5 or 10. 2 hours later, we had received the results from my wife's MRI. Now, she had gone only because she was losing her hearing, and I had pushed her to finally go get a hearing exam. Lo and behold, 2 hours after we get my sister's diagnosis, I received the raw data on my wife, and I'm able to read the MRI report, and there it is. She's got a 30 millimeter tumor, same as mine.
Wow.
And it just
Unbelievable.
It just floored us.
So you said that you were 27 originally personally when they discovered it, and it had like a 33 years worth of growth, really is what it looked like. And you had gotten
30 plus years,
30 plus years, and you had gotten a scan, you said 4 years before that?
5 years earlier,
So
and there was nothing there.
Within 5 years, over 30 years worth of growth happened within your brain.
Correct.
That is insane.
Correct. And that's
Wow.
why even my doctor was shocked, saying that's very, very fast. We don't see these grow that quickly. So that's why we needed to do something soon. He said, at this pace, it could be life-threatening if we don't deal with it now.
Wow. So as soon as we posted this, before we even posted it, we did a lot of research, and Josh was reading around some Facebook pages, and we were just trying to fully get a grip on what the situation is. And we began to see a lot of different theories kind of swirling around. Josh, was there one that you wanted to mention specifically?
Yeah, so we got over 1,000. We got thousands of comments on the TikTok of a bunch of people like sharing their theories and thoughts on like what's causing this. And one comment that a lot of people were talking about was saying that there was a rock in one of the classes that had radiation in it, and then they had to close the school for a day. Do you recall that happening, or does that have a link to this?
So knowing what I know about primary brain tumors, and I want to just make sure we're clear, I'm not only talking about cancers. I want to focus, these are primary brain tumors. And I did that for a reason, because of their rarity. So knowing what I know about primary brain tumors, there's really only one link that scientists all agree on, and that's ionizing radiation. They learned this from years and years of data after World War II.
Wow.
They learned this after Chernobyl. So the scientists all agree we've got really solid evidence of what nuclear radiation can do to a human body. There's a lot of supposition about other contaminants and vinyl chloride and PCBs and on and on and on, but they're all anecdotal. They're not really proven. We have theories, but nothing solid. So I started doing digging on specific terms on the internet, and one of them was colonia, Woodbridge Township, and radiation. Lo and behold, the article came up from 1997, which stated there had been a uranium ore called uranitite. Sometimes it's called pitch blende. They had found a large grapefruit-sized rock in the school that turned out to be uranium ore.
Wow.
And it just hit me that maybe we're going down the right path. One may not be enough, but it's very suspicious. It's very interesting that we did find a link where I know radiation can cause brain tumors, and now we have radiation in the school. And I wanted to just keep digging down that path to say, maybe we're onto something. Maybe that might not be it, but that might be the tip of the iceberg.
Man, this sounds like the makings of like an incredible documentary. I mean, that's just insane that you were Googling and you came up with that. That's crazy.
Well, if you're into conspiracy theories,
Yeah.
here's where it goes next.
A little bit, actually.
So I couldn't wrap my head around, where does a potentially high-grade uranium ore rock come from? It doesn't make sense. They're not natural in New Jersey. You might find smaller pieces, but you're not going to find a large grapefruit-sized rock of black. It looks like a black crystal, very, very unique. It looks like something from outer space. You don't find it in New Jersey. That led me to number 2. There's a secret sampling plant. Sometimes it's called a landfill, about 11 miles from the high school. And it was involved in the making of the nuclear bombs as part of the Manhattan Project. That landfill is called the Middlesex sampling plant, sometimes referred to as the Middlesex landfill. They used to import very high-grade uranium ore from the Congo. And the reason you do that is uranium ore has very low percentages of uranium. So you need to extract the pure uranium to enrich it to make a bomb. They wanted the best they could find. You go to the Congo when you want to find the best uranium. So they were bringing it into this facility in addition to plutonium, beryllium, lots of really nasty stuff. And they were experimenting to see which one had the greatest yield per pound of ore. And when they finished experimenting, it kind of got thrown in the backyard, so to speak. So there were tons of this material on this property in the 40s and 50s. They started cleaning it up and started separating what they considered clean from dirty fill/soil. And that's when things went awry. They started losing track of the clean fill versus the dirty fill. So they moved it off to a secondary site a little bit north called Middlesex Landfill North. And that's when they lost track of the dirty fill. They had records that an asphalt company had taken some away. Then they had records that locals started coming on the site with pickup trucks and carrying the dirt away. Wow. And the government got a little concerned, and they said, we need to get that dirt back. And they just closed the records and said, we got it all back, it's good. So now I started asking myself, is it a possibility that some of that fill from 10 miles away was used in the construction of the high school in 1967? And if that's a possibility, that stone that was found on the property may have been kicked up by a student walking around the grounds, saw an interesting looking black rock and brought it into school. Wow. There may be lots of those rocks on the property.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know.
That is
But that's
insane.
one of the things that I'm wondering. Is this the tip of the iceberg? And maybe it does make sense that there's a potential issue for radiation.
It doesn't sound that crazy. It actually sounds very believable.
Crazy.
No, that sounds
These
super.
things happen around the country all the time.
So the one thing that we were struck with was the fact that 3 family members could have a situation happen that's 1 in 100,000, which is a statistical anomaly. And
correct.
It doesn't sound that crazy what you're saying right now. When you think something had to happen, something had to cause this. It's not just like this happens every day to people. And that is a very, very interesting theory. Is there anything that our listeners could potentially look up if they want to read more about that? Is there anything you'd recommend us?
Well, if you want to read the article yourself, very easy search terms, Colonia and Geiger, and it'll bring you to the 1997 article. And if you want to see anything on the Middlesex sampling plant, it's been written about for probably 50, 60 years now. New York Times did a big retrospective on cleaning up America's nuclear past. So there's a lot of articles on this. It's still sitting there. It's a super fun site waiting to be cleaned up. So it's well known in Middlesex Borough that place exists.
Wow.
Is it a cause? I don't know. But as a scientist, you chase every breadcrumb, and if the breadcrumb leads to a loaf of bread, you dig into it.
Yeah,
and that's what we do. I'm not going to drop a breadcrumb here and say it's not worth exploring. It's worth exploring until it doesn't pan out.
It's really good,
and we're still digging.
Yep. Yep. And one thing we failed to mention on our intro is, do you want to share your background professionally? Because I think it adds
Sure.
to the situation a bit.
So I graduated from Rutgers in environmental sciences with a minor in industrial hygiene safety engineering. I did a lot of classes in epidemiology and toxicology. I then worked for the U.S. EPA as a hazmat responder for about 10 years. So I've been all over the country. I've seen everything. I've seen how people can hide things and how they can lose track of toxins and wastes. I then floated around several industries, worked in a steel mill, worked for Honeywell and Allied Signal and Lockheed Martin. And for the last 18 years, I worked for the largest oil spill cleanup company in the nation. I work as a safety engineer for them. We were involved in the Deepwater Horizon cleanup. You probably have seen that on the news once or twice. That took place in 2010. So I've always been involved in the environmental field. And to coin a phrase we use in the marine industry, when this hit home, it hit me in my wheelhouse, so to speak. So I immediately heard bells and whistles go off in my head that we know too many people that have brain tumors. And if you add the three of us up with just some family members that we had associations with that gave us stories, there's too many.
Yeah.
The high school's not big enough that we should have the number of cases we have. The percentages. Your readers have looked it up. It's 0.001% for an acoustic neuroma, and I have 14 on my list.
Oh my goodness!
Unreal.
So, I guess the question then becomes: what is the next step here? What is the hopeful outcome? Is it that the town would begin to research this? I know they said they're open to it. What would be your hope here for the next step?
We had hoped that the feds and the state would come rushing in and say, we're here to help. Unfortunately, we've not received that friendly welcome we thought. They're receptive. They hear what we're saying, but there's a lot of, we'll get back to you. And the mayor and I have been lockstep on this. He's been actually my greatest ally. From day one, he said, whatever you need, I'm here. And the two of us have been getting a little frustrated, saying that we're running out of time, so to speak, before people are up in arms and storming the castle, so to speak, with pitchforks and billy clubs. So he's basically stated, if we can't get the feds to listen and we can't get the state to listen, I'm prepared to move on my own, and I'll bring in my own contractor, and we'll start.
Wow.
And I think it's a fantastic thing that he's willing to do this. We have spring break coming up in a couple of weeks. That's a perfect opportunity to get a team of scientists in there to really do a deep dive and make sure our children that are in this school are not being harmed.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Do you think they should be shutting down the high school now, or are all these cases from like years ago?
They are, and that's what I've tried to explain to people. I said, this is not an acute exposure. This is a long-term chronic exposure. So is there any harm in continuing to go to school for a few more days, a few more weeks? No, I see none. My nieces are in the school. I have my cousin's children in the school, and we're not pulling them out. I don't see the need to do that, but I don't think it's wise to ignore the problem and pick it up 2, 3, 4 years down the road. The sooner we know, the better we can react. Yep. And I'm not sure if it's even there. I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful that it's not a problem, and maybe they can learn something from what happened in the past. But God help us if the problem still exists.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all afraid of.
Yep, absolutely. So even you're saying with long-term exposure, if they did let's say spring break going in, they're like, hey, we're seeing some things that are concerning. What's the next step then? Is it to knock down the high school? Does that become an area that where people just don't enter into until it can be?
That's above my pay grade.
Okay, got it.
At that point, we turn it over to the people with lots of letters and acronyms next to their names, and we ask them, what do you think? I'm a grunt, so my job was basically to stand up to a promise I made to my sister, which is to dig into this problem and find out why it happened to us. And as I uncovered more and more people, it expanded to why did it happen to all of us? And that's all I want. I just want answers. I want someone to tell me that my numbers are wrong. I would love to hear that. Mm-hmm. I would love for someone to look at my numbers and say, these are silly. It's not a problem. Great. We all go about our lives. Al looks a little sillier. I can live with that.
Yeah.
But if someone looks at the numbers and say we have a problem, my question is going to be, can we fix it, and is it ongoing? That's really what I want to know.
Yeah. Well, it's absolutely unbelievable. And we knew this was a crazy story before we even got you on the phone, but now that you're sharing this, it's just mind-blowing. And I mean, I can't even believe it. Josh, was there anything you wanted to ask before we close it out?
No, that was about it. We just wish you the best of luck, Al. And
Well, thank you.
We're from the area. Like, I grew up in Clark, and Josh grew up in Cranford. So, like, we're very familiar with the area. You guys are our neighbors. So whatever you guys need from us, just please reach out. Feel free. We'd love to help in any way possible.
Yep.
Well, you've helped just by airing this tonight. The more we get the word out, the more people are contacting me, the better the data that I can hand over to the experts, and maybe they can learn something and prevent this from happening ever again.
Absolutely. Well, Al, we'll get this up as soon as we can. And like Josh said, if there's anything else we can do for you, don't hesitate to reach out. And we spoke to your niece. Your whole family was very, very sweet to us. And
Awesome.
if there's anything we can do, that's why we're here. And we wish you all the best, man.
Thank you. And if you want an update in the future, don't hesitate to reach
yeah,
out.
for sure.
Oh, we definitely will.
Great.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you,
Have
gentlemen.
a good night, Al.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
Wow. Well, that was really awesome to speak to Al. And I mean, what a well-spoken guy who has tons of information on the topic.
Bro, and so much of it makes sense.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
And like it's not something you hear and be like, wow, that's way out and that's crazy. No, like that made a lot of sense. And I can't wait to dig into these articles and just keep looking. And I would love to help him just find the source of this. So thank you, Al, for coming on.
Dude, all I could think that entire conversation was the whole time he was speaking, I'm like, this is going to be a Netflix documentary.
It has to
It's
be, yeah.
so unbelievable to hear all the detail. And we spoke to him for 20 minutes. I mean, that could easily be an hour. We could have done a longer interview.
Oh, yeah, we could have
I
gone
didn't
all
want to
night.
keep him on the phone all night.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what an amazing, interesting story. And hopefully they get to the bottom of it.
100%.
And I don't know, I should have asked him. I don't know if that means a lawsuit. Like if they do find a link, is there a lawsuit involved? And yeah, he might have, I don't know if he would have known the answer to that, but thank you to Al for calling in, and we'll do whatever we can to share the story. That's, in our own backyard to think that this is going on.
Such a crazy story.
We have friends that went to Colonia High.
Yeah, dude, we have friends in Colonia High right now. Like, it's insane.
So insane. I guess we got to move on to the news, but we'll never get an interview that good again.
That
man.
was insane. Thank you, Al. Shout out to the whole family we've been in contact with. You guys have been so kind and open to sharing, so we appreciate that, and we're just here to help you guys.
So let's move on to the rest of the news for the night.
How are we going to top that?
I don't know how to move on to news after that because the news we have is kind of ridiculous, but
These stories, yeah.
man, what a guy. That's so cool. And then the other thing was he's a Jersey guy, went to Rutgers. Like, it's just such an interesting story. So prayers to Al and his family. Al, we got you, bro. Anything you need, hit us
Amazing.
up. We got you. So let's go on to the news. In Egg Harbor, New Jersey, a man tased a child in the head while playing with him.
It's all fun and games until a kid gets tased.
You should put that on a T-shirt. So,
Why are you fooling around with a taser with a kid?
I don't know.
Unless you actually want to hurt them. But like, it sounds like this guy was just having fun with his child. But like, there's like toys to play with kids. You don't have to play with an actual taser.
Yep. At 101.5 is reporting fooling around with a taser gun landed a 12-year-old boy in the hospital and a family friend charged with assault and child abuse. Egg Harbor Township Police Captain Heath Purr said Louis Surita Jr., 68 of Atlantic City, fired a taser several times at his head during horseplay with a boy on Monday, shocking him into unconsciousness. Cerrito,
Don't play with a taser.
Don't play with a taser, yeah. It says Cerrito was arrested and also charged with endangering the welfare of a child, unlawful possession of a weapon, and possession of a controlled dangerous substance. He was being held at the Atlantic County Justice Facility. The boy has since returned home, but the long-term implications of the injury are unknown.
Oh my gosh, dude, that poor child.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot going on here, and it sounds like this guy, Luis, was being just a little bit negligent. A little bit. He was being a lot of bit negligent.
Yeah.
But it also sounds like there was a relationship here where he was roughhousing with the kid, and maybe, I don't know the full relationship, but it sounds like they had a good relationship. It doesn't sound like he was going around teasing
of course
kids.
not. No, I didn't read it that way. I just thought about like an adult playing with a child, like regular horseplay.
Yeah.
like making the kid laugh, like, oh, like, but like you shouldn't be. I don't know why there was a taser out near the kid. Like I can maybe if it was in his pocket and it like discharged, but it doesn't sound like that happened. It sounded like he actually like pointed it at the kid, right?
Yep.
That's just weird.
Well, I don't know. Maybe who fully knows what's going on? And I mean, obviously, intent doesn't matter if you tase a kid in the head. So he's going to face legal consequences.
If you have any sort of weapon on you that could like do even a little bit of damage around a child, it shouldn't even be there. Just take it out of your pocket, put it somewhere far away where no one can grab it, and carry on.
So it's good to see that the boy returned home. Who knows if there's going to be some long-term issues as a result of this? Hopefully not. Hopefully this is a one-time thing.
And he's 12. Like, that's not a baby. Like, that kid's going to remember that. And I wonder, like, just psychologically, like, how he's doing. Like, I just hope he's fine.
Do you think he'll remember? Because it said he went unconscious, so maybe it was so traumatic that
maybe he blacked out.
He may have blacked out
Possibly,
and not remembered any of it. But
I hope so. He probably,
okay.
if he remembers that must be pretty terrifying. I've never been tased. Have you?
No, and you know what? This sounds messed up with the context of what we're talking about, but I kind of want to know what it feels like.
Well, like I know if you go and become a cop, you have to get tased, right? Or like tear gassed.
I know you definitely get the pepper spray. I think you have to get tased as well in New Jersey because I think tasers are legal in New Jersey. But yeah, so I think when you become a police officer, you got to get tased, and it doesn't look fun to see, to get shocked. But I'd like to just know.
It reminds me of the scene in The Hangover when they're in the school with the kids and the kid walks up to Zach Galifianakis and shoots a taser at him.
I don't remember that.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's the best scene in the whole movie. But yeah, it made me terrified of tasers just looking at that. Or was that a stun gun?
I have no idea. I don't remember the scene, but
I'm getting them all confused right now.
It's crazy nonetheless, and hopefully the boy's okay. Hopefully justice is swift with this man. I don't want his life to be ruined, Like, it just seems like...
It was just a careless
mistake. Yeah. And we all make stupid mistakes, but sometimes when they endanger a kid, it's like manslaughter. You don't mean to kill somebody, but you killed somebody.
Yeah,
so
say you were texting and driving and ran over a person. Yep. Like, no one's going to have pity on you.
Exactly. So
just don't do it.
We shall see what comes of this. I don't think anything good's going to come for my man, Louis Sarita Jr.
It's just a very unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
Lesson learned there.
Next story. So apparently, dozens of students in Camden, New Jersey were sent to the hospital after sanitizer was found in milk.
Yeah, why is there sanitizer in milk? And I think these milk cartons were shut. They were closed. Like no one actually put something into them. So what's going on in Camden?
I don't know. Should I read you the article?
Let's go.
So it says students were sent to local hospitals after non-toxic consumable sanitizer was discovered in milk cartons in various schools in the city. Officials confirmed to NJ Advance Media on Wednesday afternoon. At least 64 students were impacted by the incident. School officials said, however, the Camden City School District did not immediately clarify if that meant those students had ingested it or were just sick. According to the school district spokeswoman Valerie Merritt, over 30 students were sent to 2 area hospitals following the discovery of the colorless substance Wednesday morning. Some students were vomiting, she said, and the report of a possible contaminant came into the Camden County Police Department at about 9:09 a.m. on Wednesday, said police spokeswoman Dan Keshan. It was not immediately known how the substance made its way into the cartons.
It just sounds like a terrible situation. Just I can imagine kids are, they have their lunch break and they're just all drinking their milk, having a good time. And then boom, just kids start vomiting all over the place and just all hell breaks loose. Straight out of a movie. That's how I could see it happening.
It sounds like a senior prank. It sounds like a really good senior prank.
Oh yeah. Like they threw some sort of chemical into the milk, but
I don't know. Cause now I'm starting to wonder if maybe someone at the milk carton.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, someone at the factory where they were bottling it went rogue.
It can't just be
because
isolated incident only to Camden.
That's a good point.
That's what's weird because they said...
And I could see even if it was one school, okay, you could say it's isolated, but since it's multiple schools throughout the Camden School District,
well, maybe
it's got to be the supplier.
Maybe they get a pallet of milk for the district and they distribute it. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but maybe it was one singular order of milk was just loaded with... maybe some rogue milk person was putting hand sanitizer or something into these cartons.
Possible. I don't know.
But that just seems like so much work.
Why aren't we blaming the cows here?
That's a really great point, dude.
Really
you
good
never
point.
know what they got. Maybe they got COVID or something. I don't know.
Why would we trust a cow after all?
The deer got COVID. Maybe cows got COVID. I don't know.
Yeah, but this is like a sanitizer. I don't know. I'm wondering what could have caused this, and
Because they were saying all the milk cartons were like sealed, like nothing
Yeah.
was open. It was like straight out of like the shipping container. So.
yeah, it wasn't like they were like opening them and pouring stuff in and then distributing them. So
It's weird.
I have no idea.
When I was a kid growing up in school,
I know this is gonna be good before you even start.
no, you know me. I love my milk. I'm
Absolutely.
obsessed. 1% all day. I didn't drink milk in school. I always was disgusted by like the milk cartons. I was like, that looks nasty.
You're out of
I
your
don't
mind.
want that. No, so I didn't drink it.
First of all, the fact that you're so passionate about 1% milk is hilarious to
Bro,
me.
I'll drink whole milk. I'll drink 2%. I'm not picky. I'll drink skim milk. It's just like I get 1%. It's like the good middle ground. Like you can never go wrong with 1%.
When I was in high school, I would get they had the cartons, right? Like the little cartons of milk.
Yeah.
The chocolate milk, man. Oh man, I get the chocolate milk every day with lunch.
That's disgusting.
And then they had what's the cookie machine? Is it Otis Spunkmeyer or whatever cookies?
Yeah, those are the best.
Oh, we had those. I got the sugar cookie with the rainbow sprinkles. I still think about
the
that.
chocolate chips were where it was at.
Dude,
I
would get those. I'd get like a lunch with tater tots and then with the chocolate milk, and then I get the cookie to go. And that was where things got interesting. I'd leave the lunchroom and slowly eat that cookie.
You guys are
man.
out of your minds.
and they would warm them up too.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
It's like milk in high school. Like just like why are you drinking milk in high school?
I have an interesting Jersey
That's just
fact
weird.
about my high school cafeteria.
Yeah.
When that Doritos flavor, what's the sweet chili?
Habanero?
No, the sweet chili one, the purple bag.
Yes.
Okay.
Isn't it sweet habanero or like
No, I think it's what is it called? Sweet chili.
fire habanero?
Sweet chili Dorito. You've never had this one?
Oh, I didn't know it was called sweet chili. I thought
Spicy
it was
sweet chili.
No.
When I was in high school, I think it was a junior in high school, Doritos came to our high school.
What do you mean they came to your high school?
Oh man, they came to our lunchroom and gave out 2 different flavors of Doritos.
Just to be there and give it to you
Yeah,
guys?
they gave us. There was 2 bags. There
What was the point?
Spicy sweet Dorito. I'm sorry, spicy sweet chili, and the other one was like a. I don't even remember what the flavor was, but we had to pick. Like we'd eat them, and then we'd fill out a little card and say what our favorite flavor was. So they were doing like sampling of the students, and I think my high school selected this flavor to be a thing.
I didn't know Doritos was doing that type of thing.
My high school was always interesting. We also had the Invisible Children people come after Coney 2012.
What did they do? What did they do with you guys?
They came and did like a speech, and I bought a T-shirt, and it shrunk in the wash and never fit me. I was really upset about that.
All we got was like a drunk driving like performance in the front of the school where they like pretended like
We never got
someone
that.
died.
I always wanted that though, and we never got it.
And like the person who died had to walk around all week with like a different shirt on and no one could talk to them because they had to pretend like they were dead.
Who was the person? Were they a classmate?
Yeah, just kids in our class. Yeah. Freaked me out.
Dude, that is really cool.
It was kind of eerie, but at the same time, I was like, these are the same kids. Like the kids volunteering to do that are the ones to like go out and party and drink. And I was like, it pissed me off because I was like, these kids are just lying in front of everyone right now. And I don't know. I was the type of kid in high school that did not like anything, and I was always overthinking things.
Yeah, I mean that is.
I'm pretty sure that kid was arrested after high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a really great way to like freak kids out. I feel.
Oh,
like.
it was terrifying. It made me never want to drink and drive ever. So good job on the high school part, but the acting could have been better.
Yeah, they weren't getting a Grammy for it, huh?
No.
Or an Oscar, excuse
No.
me. Well,
It wasn't that great. Jimmy, did they do that for you guys?
No, they stopped it actually.
A little too harsh.
Yeah.
it's a good thing that nobody died from the milk.
It seems like the kids got out of the hospital the same day. So
Don't cry over poisoned milk, right?
yeah, bro.
So next story we have is let's just say it's. I'm trying to think of a really good pun right now. My brain isn't working. Hold on, let me think about this. Give me a second. This next story will have you flying with emotion.
Why, Josh?
Because in Manville, New Jersey, an airplane crashed into a quiet little neighborhood. That was a great sound effect. Dude, that's all like Looney Tunes.
Hey, the guy survived.
I feel like I'm going to hear like Donald Duck or something.
I don't make jokes like that, but our pilot survived, correct? Did he?
Yeah, no. So a single-engine airplane crashed
Let's
into a
go.
quiet New Jersey neighborhood Monday afternoon, sending the pilot to a local hospital, according to reports. The 2006 Mooney M20M plane took down utility lines and ripped through tree branches as it plummeted to the ground and landed in the front yard of a home on South Main Street in Manville. The pilot, who has not been identified, suffered non-life-threatening injuries, the outlet reported. The craft had taken off from Piedmont Triad International Airport in Greensboro, North Carolina, and crashed outside of Central Jersey Regional Airport.
So he was close to the airport, right?
He was almost there.
Oh, so maybe he ran out of fuel, or like he just. But like at that point, you drift, right? Like as a pilot, like even if you run out of fuel, you could like pretty much drift all the way back down. Yeah, glide down, not drift.
I don't, dude. These little planes always crash. They freak me out so much.
I can think of 3 different instances off the top of my head in the last 2 years that there have been plane crashes like this in New Jersey.
Yeah.
One in DNR Canal State Park. The plane was stuck up in the trees for a few days. One by Stoke State Forest a few weeks ago. And then one landed in the Botanical Gardens at Ringwood State Park.
Wow.
All with 3 off the top of my head. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean,
Is there something happening in the skies that we don't know about?
it's
Like
these
what's
chemtrails.
dude? Dude, it's real. I'm telling you, chemtrails. Look into them. It's actually a real thing.
I think it's just the you're talking about planes that my guess would be they're not produced at the same level as a car. Like think about a Honda Civic. A Honda Civic's a great car. It's still not prone to like breaking. Oh, hold on. I'm saying that backwards. It's still prone to breaking down. Cars break down all the time. Every day you see, if you drive on a highway every day, you're going to see a car every now and again with its hazards on. And you're talking about airplanes. So like there's less of them being made. Maybe the standard isn't as good. We're not talking about Boeing. This is a smaller manufacturer.
And who knows how old it was? It could have been a really old plane.
Yeah, my grandfather used to fly one of these planes
Oh
around.
yeah, 2006.
Got 2006 Mooney M20M, man. Let's see what this thing looks like.
Yeah,
let's
come
find
on,
a,
let's bring up a photo. The Mooney.
Listen, if I was in one of these little planes and I crashed and survived, I think I'd never get in a plane again and I'd get a new lease on life. I think I would suddenly
lease on life.
I would go start hugging people and like,
No,
I don't know.
I'm not doing that ever again. It looks like any other personal airplane.
It would be the scene in It's a Wonderful Life. You've never seen that movie, have you?
No.
You communist.
Shut up.
The scene when George
dude.
Bailey gets his life back. That'd be me if the people that survive these plane crashes, they should just go buy a lotto ticket or something. Like,
No, yeah, for real.
wow, God spared your life.
I wish there was
something.
a video. I wish I could have seen like how the plane came down. Like, was he gliding down? He just couldn't make it. He landed in a bush, or like, thank God no one was outside in any of those front yards. It could have been way worse.
I mean, I wonder if there's footage online. I didn't actually look that up, and I'll.
Yeah,
see
everyone
right
has
now.
iPhones. People have.
Whoa! There is a YouTube video.
No, it can't be live.
That's
Like, coming
an ad.
down.
I don't think it's falling. I think it's just video of him when he's crashed. Oh yeah, here's it's just a photo. NJ.com with the clickbait.
Yo, shout out to the pilot though for not like doing any damage to that home. He kind of landed like right outside that person's house.
I think oh man, if that happened in your front yard and your house didn't get hit at all, you have to be so lucky. That is really, really crazy. Well, nonetheless, thank goodness he wasn't injured, right?
That's very impressive.
That's a story to tell, and he shall tell it for sure, right?
Well, I'm gonna be searching that story in the coming weeks. I want to see if he like if anything comes out, like what was the reasoning behind it. I'm always so curious for those stories on how they happen.
Let me just double check the main article I read from the New York Post and see if they say anything about the reason it went down. No, there was nothing about
The license plate says Jesus on it.
Yeah, he's got a Jesus plate in the window with and this is the real irony is he has a North Carolina license plate.
Oh, yeah, true. He's from
and
North
it says
Carolina.
first in flight on it, which is just like obviously he's in a plane, so the irony, the jokes write themselves, but I don't know, crazy. And
Yeah, I'm never gonna fly a plane. I think I'm good.
I would like to, but
I would go in a private jet. If anyone has a private jet, like, and you're listening, I'd go in with you. I don't even have to know you. I trust you. You're a pilot. Like, what are the odds that this actually happens? But like, I don't think I want to fly a plane. It seems hard. I fly drones, and that's hard enough.
I'd love to fly one of those planes that goes along the shore with a banner that says like, "Hey, great crabs up the road at
This
Joe's
summer,
Crab Shack."
this summer we're gonna do a Garden State one.
Yes, we should.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other
Dude,
night.
that's such a
It's
good
like gonna be the
idea.
Garden State podcast. So when you're on the beach, everyone can see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should say something like,
I know a guy.
bored, relaxing on the beach, enjoy a nice Garden State podcast while you're doing it. Something like that.
Yeah.
Or we should get a plane to write in the sky. Garden State Pod.
That's so cool.
Rules. That'd be cool.
Guys, we need the hookups. Like, we always think of these ideas, but we don't know like who to contact. Let us know.
We'll figure that out. We'll get
That's not too hard.
Get some funding for it, and we'll see what happens. So, great. So at least the guy survived. He has a new lease on life. He should go, I don't know, start an orphanage or something amazing like that, since he was given a second life.
There goes
We're
with the
headed
sound
up.
effect again.
Our last story of the night is
Our most requested story of the week, which has been
Yeah.
all over the place.
this is a heavy one, man. This is crazy. In Clark, New Jersey, the mayor is under fire after recordings leaked of him saying racist slurs.
Barnacorso, man.
Man. Clark Mayor Sal Bonacorso continues to face the withering criticism and calls for resignation after revelations that the township agreed to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to a whistleblower who threatened to expose a secret recording that allegedly captured Bonacorso, the police chief, and an internal affairs sergeant using racial slurs. The condemnation came from Clark residents, Union County's Board of Commissioners, and a fellow mayor who once defended Bonacorso against charges of racism. So basically what happened was he was secretly recorded and said some pretty terrible things.
Yeah, it was
And this
awful.
was like 2 years ago, and apparently the township had to pay to have the recording and everything kept under wraps, and the lawsuits kept at bay, and nothing came of it. But now the audio has leaked, and it says, this is what the article says, it says 2 years ago the township concealed the allegations by a $400,000 by quietly agreeing to pay the whistleblower and his attorney $400,000 under a legal settlement.
$400,000.
That's a house.
For Bonacorso's mistakes. What an idiot.
The whistleblower, Lieutenant Antonio Manata, was also allowed to remain on payroll for more than 2 years without working at an additional cost. Wow. So I don't know how much longer he'll be on.
Yeah, basically he made $289,000 salary for not even working. Is that what that's saying?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand that.
So
he was able to be kept on the payroll for more than 2 years without working at an additional cost of $289,700 in salary alone. In exchange, he turned over the recordings to ensure they would not be disseminated and agreed not to file a lawsuit. So I guess the $400,000, a part of that was the salary of this officer who was...
No. The $400,000 is not even a part of the salary.
Wow.
The salaries were different, and then you had those other two officers also on paid leave.
Wow.
So I think the total salary is like in the $600,000 or $700,000 range.
Well, the $289,000 for the one officer plus the $400,000 for the settlement plus the other two officers, we might be talking about $1 million at that point.
It's crazy.
Because you have to figure. It says Bonacorso has been Clark's mayor since 2001. He did not respond Monday to the request for comment. He has previously denied he and others used racist language. He claimed he knew nothing about the recordings and said he has many black friends.
Oh my gosh, dude.
This
it's
guy.
just an embarrassment. It's so embarrassing, dude, especially since he doesn't even want to man up to the mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, I listened to some of those recordings. I couldn't even finish it because it's just so pathetic. And, you know, like, you just hear about Clark being so racist, like, growing up. Every time you say the word Clark, everyone's like, oh, that's a racist town. Well, it comes from the head. And if your mayor is saying these things
Yeah.
just publicly, like, around, like, a bunch of people... It goes to show it's gonna fall down onto the town.
It's a really terrible situation, and he will face consequences. This is a national headline now, and what I want to know is how do they, you know, if you're a taxpayer in that town and you find out your tax dollars, which should be going to, like, I don't know, for the fire department, the police department, the roads, the things you think your taxes are going towards paying off lawsuits for a guy that can't keep his mouth shut. I think I'd be pretty frustrated and want to see like a full audit done of.
For real, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know all the ins and outs of this, but it just sounds very shady. The guy's probably going to have to resign from his position.
I wonder if he's going to resign or if he's just going to like pray this blows over, which is not, because like he's run into like things like this in the past, but this is just like the biggest one.
The reason this won't blow over, I think there would be a possibility of it blowing over if there wasn't a lawsuit involved. Because people nowadays, we have the attention spans of like squirrels, and there's always another thing to look at. I think he could have hoped for that another time, but in a time where you paid $400,000 out, the town people are gonna lose their minds when they find out all the details behind this. So
It's pathetic.
yeah, I don't know. It just seems very strange. Jimmy, do you have any information for us on this?
I just think that this whole thing is insane, like you said, but I don't know what the legalities are here. Because, like, if I said this at my job, I would get fired right away. But when you're in an elected position like that, like, what oversight does the state have? Could Murphy come in and remove him?
That is a good question.
I don't think so. I don't think they have the because he hasn't. I don't think he's broken a law. You know.
Well, he hasn't broken a law, but like, if I said that at work, I would still get fired.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
but I think that's where I think the town would have to call a vote. Would be my assumption. Like the townspeople
Special election or something?
Yeah, like a special election, because we're not dealing with an. Yes, he's an employee, but who's his boss? The citizens of the town, of the municipality. So they have to make a decision. You know, are we going to call a special election? Are we going to impeach him? I don't know if you can impeach a mayor.
I
think it'd be really bad politically for Murphy to dip his toes in that. I know that sounds strange, but I think it just sounds like it needs to be handled at a local level. And we need to trust, at the end of the day, we need to trust that the will of the people will be done in Clark.
Bonacorso, his best move now is to step down. He's been caught. He's been caught in 4K. And it's just a bad look. If just man up to your mistakes. Man up to your mistakes.
How do you walk around town after that?
He's not. He's hiding it. And like his wife is like, I saw on Reddit, his wife is defending him on Facebook. And like, she's pissed off. Like, we did so much for this town.
His wife is saying that she fixed the town.
Yeah, she was crediting herself for fixing the town. So
people that love
It's a
power,
mess,
man.
man.
I'm telling you, people that love power.
get a little power. It'll get right to your head.
Go straight to their head, and we will see. We'll keep you updated on what happens with Clark.
You guys are nobody. Clark
the
is such
mayor.
a small town, bro. We have more power on YouTube than
I know
they've ever had.
We'll see what happens, and I'd imagine this doesn't bode well for the mayor.
own up to it, bro.
Yeah. So
It's as simple as that. It's just a shame. And, you know, you want to fix Clark. You want to make it a better town.
Mm-hmm.
Cut the head. Cut the cancer right now, which is Bonacorso. And let's move forward.
So, just real quick before we end this, the whole town council had a vote on this resolution to pay out this money. So, does that make them equally?
yes.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes.
Yeah.
See, what makes me sick? Okay,
That's
A lot of
crazy.
this makes me sick. But what is really disgusting is this is the thing with people in political positions is you represent your constituents. You represent the people of the town. That's the only reason you're there. You're not there because you're special. You're not there because you're a genius. It's like any other political position, and they have to be accountable to people. You need to tell your town what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how, again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how these things work. So I don't want to sound super ignorant and someone's going to go, yeah, well, here's the situation. They can't really speak about it because it's a lawsuit. Okay, fair enough, whatever. But I just feel like in all these situations, when we see politicians doing shady stuff and avoiding the consequences, it always comes down to the fact that there's this thing that happens when people get power where they start to feel a little special.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not special. You're just like the rest of us. We're all just people trying to figure it out. And you should step down, apologize, move on with your life, try to fix your family because your poor kids are gonna have to go through it now because of your mistakes.
Yeah. It's
And
unfair.
It's just sad all around. It's like, come on, man. Like you said, man up and just handle it. But that I don't see that happening with this situation. So
Get him out.
get him out. Well,
Get him out.
We had a jam-packed episode
This
tonight.
might have been our longest ep, I think.
Longest epi.
Nice little ep. The episode, which is our 12th episode, by the way. So how the heck are we at episode 12? We talked to that means we've talked over like 12 hours to each other,
Even longer.
which is weird.
We set up, we talk. I mean,
Like before we started a podcast, I was like, how is it possible that we're even going to talk this long? I can't talk to Josh this long. Like, and wow, it's so easy actually.
it naturally flows out, and it's been an absolute joy to make this podcast. Before we close out, I just want to remind our listeners, we are restocking our merch. If you're listening to this on Friday, we're restocking it today. Go buy a hoodie, go buy a t-shirt. This is the main way we can fund this podcast. We don't have any ads on this podcast.
No one wants to sponsor us.
all the sponsorship opportunities we've gotten have been like things that we don't want to support. So if you know someone who's the big real estate guy they always talk about on 101.5?
Salerno.
Oh no, I know who you're talking about. Rob Dekansky.
Rob Dekansky.
Yeah.
Rob Dekansky. If you want to sponsor us, dude, send us a check. We'll all sell our houses and buy our houses with you. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
So on that note, this weekend I hung out with my friend Lauren, and she was telling me how in college she interned at 101.5, and Big Joe Henry was like her best friend.
Wow.
So
Is that our connect right there?
I think it might be a connect.
Yeah. Can you please tell her to reach out?
Yeah.
We gotta get.
She's went to dinner with him and stuff. So.
Oh my gosh.
That sounds sketchy. You're outing Big Joe for having
apparently-
dinner with an
He
intern.
was at legal
Apparently
age.
he's like a really good guy, and he like took all the interns out for like this big dinner. and, like,
okay.
What a guy.
Well, if he wants to come on the pod, Big Joe, we are quietly awaiting your arrival on the Garden State. And so go buy a piece of merch, support us. Every single piece helps us to keep this thing going. It is a passion project at this point because it takes a lot of time and a lot of work to get this going.
But guys, just seeing all your comments, all the emails, all the positivity, it just keeps us going. So we thank you so much.
Yep.
And so many people are just DMing us, like just saying like how they love listening while they drive. A lot of people for work, they're driving a lot. So,
And if you can't afford to buy a hoodie, I'd ask this. This might sound cheesy, but if you enjoy this podcast, send it to somebody that you think might enjoy it. Think of one person.
That's great.
That would mean a lot to us because that helps spread the word and that just builds the audience and builds interaction.
and it gets the word out for like Al Lupiano's story. And
Yeah.
it keeps like bringing awareness to these situations. So it's pretty cool.
What a good guy, man. I really like Al Lupiano a lot.
Yeah. Maybe one day we could run into him, meet him, hang
Yeah,
out, maybe treat him to a nice dinner.
Or a diner meal.
A diner sesh with him would be great.
So with that, that's all I actually had on the stories for tonight. Did you want to say anything before we say goodbye?
I just want to say, speaking of sponsors, what's stuck in my head for like eternity? Salino and Barnes, injury attorneys, 1-888-8888.
One of them died recently.
Well, Salino now it's split up. It's Salino and Barnes are separate, even though one of them died.
Yeah, but one of them, I think Salino
the
died.
Barnes attorney, right? What's the new company called? It's always on 1019 The Fan.
I don't know.
But our producer is telling us, Jimmy
gotta
Parks is telling us, we have to wrap up right now.
Yeah, time to end the podcast.
I just want to say, like, that's just like a really good ad. Whoever created that song, it's always stuck in my head.
Yep.
And if you guys are not on our Discord, join our Discord, join the conversation. We keep you guys updated on there with everything that's going on, especially all the plans that we're going to have this summer. We're going to be doing a lot. So follow us on Discord. It's the link in the description here on our podcast. Also in the descriptions of TikTok and Instagram. Go check it out. Follow us on all social platforms and make sure to just keep up. Thank you guys for always just supporting us. Appreciate that so much.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night, everyone.
Or good day.
See you guys later.
See you later.
You're watching The Garden State. The Dirty Jers.